right, good win for us against a Maryland team that's really played well. When we go there, I think obviously we're gonna need to expect a lot of what we saw in stretches here today. Obviously, every team's different at home, and got a lot of respect for the quality and the talent on their team and the job Danny and his staff is doing. We have great respect for them. We know they're a team that can go on a run in a hurry, and I think that's why, to some degree, us as coaches were a little bit on edge there, because we know they can make threes in bunches. But good production from a variety of guys. Thrilled for Justin, because I know he's really been putting in his work. So really happy for Justin. He gave us a great lift, and he's a pro's pro, so I expected that he would snap out of this, and he's just got to keep working. So,
Chris, two ways to measure a team is how you play against really good teams. You've done that really well for Duke, and then the way you play against less talented teams that you don't come down to their level. Are you pretty satisfied with so far this season how that's gone? Score-wise, it looks like you've done pretty well.
I think this was, and I do think the thing as a coach you're trying to measure is your team's effort and concentration, for as long as you play. And I think good teams have the necessary attention to detail and concentration and effort for long stretches. And that has been at times inconsistent for us, as it has been for a lot of teams. This Maryland team they almost beat Michigan State the other day. In this league, this is a talented group. So I think, to your point though, what we're trying to measure is almost, we understand that teams are at varying levels, or maybe having different levels of season, but our attention to detail, our concentration, and our effort has to be consistent. And I think that's where we can be better, more consistent, and that's where we have to continue to challenge our group.
Coming out second half, didn't go well against Purdue tonight. Different story.
We told them that. Yeah, at halftime. Yeah, we did. We reminded them of our first 4 minutes at Purdue.
And the offensive rebounding, you might have reminded them too.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't have any offensive rebounds, which was disappointing. They had 7 defensive rebounds. I didn't think those might have a future in coaching. Those were the 2 points we really hit on in halftime. Is we needed better force to the ball, and what kind of urgency were we going to come out of the halftime with.
And we talked earlier in the week about how you wanted Zed to respond from that Purdue game. How well did he heed that what you wanted to get out of him tonight? Yeah,
Zed I thought had some really good moments. Zed has to be consistent. That's the sign of growth of a player. He's had really, really good moments this year. We could rattle off how many. He's had some tremendous games. What we're looking for with him is consistency on the defensive end, the offensive end, but most importantly, his effort. That's what we're looking for, and I think that's the challenge for a young guy. He's got to continue to grow in that area. So it's good that, I expect, because he's a phenomenal kid, I expected him to play better, but now he's got to see, okay, come Wednesday, really come tomorrow at practice, what is his preparation going to be leading into Rutgers?
Then I know you said you were thrilled to see Justin have a big game today. What was kind of your reaction when you saw that first one go down? Were you kind of like a sigh of relief and thinking, okay, maybe he can get it going here?
Yeah, I was just really happy for him, because I know how much work he's put in, and he's a phenomenal kid. He's a pro's pro. He's just an incredible kid. He's an incredible teammate. And I told the team, think about this. He played however many minutes against Purdue. Was it 9, 10, 11? Not much. I don't think he scored. And yet somehow you would never have noticed any difference in Justin Arns the next time we came to practice. He was the loudest, the most energized, the best talker in practice, and that is a mature kid. When I talk about pro's pro, that's exactly what it looks like. Most kids, when they have a bad game, and if you lose, they come in and they don't have the same spirit that Justin had. His spirit has not waned through this stretch. He's been disappointed, but his work has not waned, and I think he's just got to, I'm not saying he's going to go and make 4-7 every night, but he's got to just continue to be Justin, and if he does that, I'm confident.
When he talked to us, he said that when he knows that he's a shooter, and when he's not making shots, and you can feel like the fan base almost feeling disappointed. He talked about some of that outside external pressure. How, as a coach, do you try to help someone through that when you've expressed all the confidence that you can in him, and you know that there's a body of work that says he's a good shooter? How have you tried to? I assume that's probably a tough balance of too much and too light. Like, that's got to be a tough tightrope to walk.
Yeah, kids hear and see things. Coaches hear and see things. Twitter's, you got a lot of Twitter coaches, and I just think in general, you got to stay away from that because it can get, it can be poison in success and it can be poison in a difficult stretch. We know that, right? I mean, social media been going around for like 10, we know that. It's poison. You can't listen to it. It's hard though. Kids hear those things. He cares ultimately about Ohio State winning. So it's when he's not making shots and making open ones, kid that cares that much. In some ways, it'd probably be easier if he didn't care as much. Just kind of cut loose, and to some degree he does. But I just think he's got to ignore that. He's got to stay focused on getting better. And he's got a lot of fans, and I believe this, that watched the game today and were thrilled for Justin Arns, because that's what I believe's out there in Buckeye Nation. I'm sure he's had people that have been frustrated with him like they are with me, but I know he had a lot of fans who looked at that and said, we're happy for that kid because we know he struggled.
And those attributes that you talk about with him, are those things you see when you're recruiting a kid? But could you see some of this stuff in Justin, some of the mental toughness and some of the things that it has taken him to get to this point in his career, or does that develop over?
No, I think we started to see it early in his career, but honestly, it was a pretty quick recruitment. We had just gotten here, and I didn't get to know him. We did a home visit with he and his family. I didn't get to know him for like a year and a half or 2-year process like I do with the kids now. So I didn't, honestly.
So you talk about in the Big Ten how important physicality is, and I'm curious, especially it seemed like you guys were focused on pounding down low with Zed, especially early on, kind of setting the tone there. How important is that, like in terms to kind of set momentum, set confidence, and kind of build your offense based on the consistency from Zed there in the paint?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big part of what we do offensively is playing through the paint with a number of guys. I think it's a big part of what we do, and that we play off of that. And sometimes when teams take that away, we have to adjust and try to impact in different ways offensively. That's a big part of what we do.
Does it provide a little bit more life? Because it seems like there's some points where you guys start games and you said, get a little bit too 3 happy or trying to find open looks. Does it provide a different level of confidence when you see that level of consistency in the paint to kind of open up shots?
Yeah, I think you'd have to ask them. I just think it's our identity. So when we can be that, it fits who we are. It fits the strengths of our team. But we're also going to shoot a lot of threes. I thought EJ made some tremendous reads in the high-low situation today that opened up some clean looks. 5 assists again, no turnovers. Happy for him with that. He's really done a good job passing, but just who we are.
This is not to say he wasn't getting them up in other games, because he has, but they went down today. It just felt like after he hit 2 or 3 of them, he was really just letting them fly, regardless of if they were going in or
Justin?
not. Yeah, Justin, even like the air ball. It's like,
Yeah.
Did you guys kind of sense that on the bench, watching him shoot it today in comparison to other games where he wasn't necessarily in his head after he missed a couple?
Yeah, we did. I think it was a relief to him because he knew they were big shots and shots we needed. He also had been really shooting well the last couple days in practice. So you kind of knew this was going to come at some point. And I think probably he just seeing it go down for him in practice and early was important for him.
Is that a thing where I doubt he shoots terrible every day in practice, but when it's not necessarily translating to the game, do you see him get frustrated with stuff like that at all?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it's easy when a guy's as prolific as he's been. He's been one of the best shooters we've had consistently for 4 years. He's never had a stretch like this, so I think he got really frustrated. But again, he's too good a shooter to shoot like this the rest of the year. He's got to stay a threat, and honestly, you guys know this. There's gonna be some teams in our league that are just not gonna let him ever get an open look. So he still has to find ways to impact the game. Like, that's gonna happen. It happened last year in the Big Ten tournament, and, against Purdue didn't let him get many clean looks. Michigan, we won those games. Like, some teams just completely take him out, and other guys have to step up when that happens.
Chris, I don't know if you noticed it as you're coaching, but the bench, each time he made one, really celebrated.
Oh, yeah.
Justin.
They love him.
Yeah, it seems like they felt what he was feeling to some degree. How do you kind of sense that with your team when maybe not him, but other guys are struggling and the team kind of picks you up?
Yeah, I think, they love him. They felt it there too. I think we were all coaches, players, just really excited for him, But again, it's not to say he won't have another game where he struggles, but I think more than anything, just really excited for him. He's an easy kid to root for, We got a lot of guys that are easy to root for. He's an easy guy to root for.
Chris, when you guys were recruiting EJ, I'm sure you saw a lot of things about him, very promising. What did you project for him in terms of his playmaking ability? You sort of referenced there earlier, his ability to make those reads at the top and keep the balls in.
He didn't have to do it a ton. He was the biggest guy, kind of played at the rim a lot, blocked so many shots because of how quick of a jumper he is and his timing. His coach did a phenomenal job, but they played small, or like 4 smalls around him. So didn't see that a ton. AAU didn't see it a ton either, Bill. He kind of played, long post in AAU and would turn and face some, good rebounder. What we've seen here late is him grow in that area. I want him to get a rebound and push. This year we've said, hey, you get a defensive rebound, you push it. You push it, make the right. Now, sometimes he's turned it over on that, but more times than not, he's gotten something good out of it. It's important for him. I think we play a little faster that way, but also it helps him grow and develop. It's a part of his game that I think allows him to showcase maybe a little bit of a bigger part of his game. It's not gonna, I think it's a small part. What the NBA people have said they want to see from him, they never have said we want to see him be a bust out guy. But I think it helps. It makes him, it can't hurt with having 5 assists and no turnovers. And he's, I think, second on our team in assists this year.
And when you guys have sort of played so infrequently and had these disruptions, how do you balance wanting to make sure you're getting them, as close to game reps as possible in practice,
Yeah.
with also knowing you're about to play 11 games in 4 weeks and want to keep them fresh?
I got to figure that out, honestly. We practiced really hard these last 2 days, really hard. I was hard on him 2 days ago. And part of that was just probably, I was ready for a game. So we went really hard these last couple of days because I'm concerned about these consistent, layoffs that we've had. And we can get out of shape, just our body types in general can get out of shape pretty quickly. So I think the challenge now is getting better in practice and staying fresh for a stretch that, unlike anything I've been a part of. And I think that's what we've got to our Q, myself, our staff, our training staff, our medical staff has to come up with a plan.
All right, we'll finish up with Spence back here in the back.
Chris, it's not a secret that this gym isn't the loudest gym in the country or anything like that. But you guys have managed to go 10-0 so far at home this year. I know that built into that is kind of the IUPUIs, but also you had Wisconsin in here, you had Duke in here. What does it mean for your program to be 10-0 right now in this little?
Yeah, by the way, Towson, I think, is top 85 in the net, so that win there.
Duke and Wisconsin and Towson.
Yeah, that win there looks pretty good right now. Your first part of your question just got me thinking. I forget the last part of your question. I'm sorry.
What does it mean to be 10-0?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels really good. And I do think that our guys were anxious to get. Our students have been phenomenal. I think student tickets sold out for the first time. And they sold out in like an hour for the first time in like, what was it? I don't know how many years it was. Our students have been consistent and been phenomenal. I thought we had You know, it's a big arena, as we all know, but I thought we had good energy. I'm anxious for it to continue to grow as we get more conference games coming up here. But to be 10-0, one, I really appreciate fans coming out today in a cold winter day. They've been phenomenal for us. Our students, our fans have been really good, and I hope it continues to grow because it feels good to be 10-0. And you don't want to say that because you're not guaranteed anything at home, but to start off, to be at this point and be undefeated has been great.
You felt that every year that you've been here, kind of grow in the building? I mean,
Yeah,
like
I
I
have.
said, it's not a big secret. Like, when you got here, it wasn't what it is right now. I'm
Yeah.
sure that you wanted to go up another level.
Yes.
But are you feeling that as you walk in here every time?
I am. I have felt it, and we have to keep, we got to keep growing. But I have felt it grow every year, and in particularly, you know, these last 2 non-COVID years, it's grown. And you know, we want to continue to bring in attractive opponents too, because that always helps. But I have felt it grow. It's hugely important when you have an arena this size to, you know, to keep it energized. So again, I think we begin with our students and kind of build from there. I think we have a very likable team. That helps when you got guys that are relatable and likable. I'm sure that helps, and hopefully we can continue to have a level of success where people want to come out. That's our job.